Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mark's Backyard Birds. Sorry, kind of at a funny angle, but you can see why I am. The producer dog, Sophie, wanted to put in an appearance tonight and say hi to everybody. And thank you for the kind words on the post that uh, Melanie posted after her grooming appointment the other day. She is in what we call Q-tip mode. Whenever she comes from the groomer, she's still quite fluffy. So, Sophie, everybody saying hi. Andrew says hi. Yep. She knows that she has a fan club. This is very true. So, oh my goodness. All right. Well, so if you want to say hi, now we'll get the camera up back up to where it's supposed to be, and welcome everybody in. It is the September 2025 Wild Bird Update edition today, with a lot of questions and answers. It is a happening time of year for birds. We really don't think much of it as fall. Today we're back up to 90, and it's supposed to be 95 tomorrow and 95 Saturday. After having wonderful 10-day stretch, 11-day stretch of below average temperatures, it was wonderful. We were loving it. A lot of north wind, a lot of bringing birds in, pushing birds out, and we're always going to talk about that. It's going to soar back up, so it'll lock the birds in that are here now because they can't fly against the wind, and the winds are definitely going to be out of the south for the next few days. And then again, the winds will shift eventually to back to the north, and more birds will leave, and more birds will arrive. So a lot of stuff happening in September. So welcome. I am Mark McKellar. I'm the owner of the Backyard Bird Center, along with my wife Melanie.
She can't
get over there. Sophie's taking up the space, but she's doing all the hard stuff over there tonight, and we're going to try to keep up. I know the last live, boy, we were fast and furious, and as always, right up front, I want to say if we do not get your comment, or we somehow don't put it on the screen, and or we miss your question, we apologize, but it's getting harder and harder to keep up, but we're trying, and we really hope that you enjoy them. I know it's a lot of positive comments, and tonight we're on of course YouTube, and also on Facebook, and we're also on Instagram tonight. So hello Instagram folks over there,
and TikTok.
Oh, and TikTok. Wow. My producer doing her job tonight. So 4 different platforms, and people are so involved and so thrilled, and I love it. It speaks volumes to you guys, and how much you support us, and we love it. I don't know if you noticed my shirt tonight. Have I worn this one before? I don't know if I have, but it says, "I'm not lost. I'm bird watching them," and
I've got my Let's Talk Birds.
Melanie has her Let's Talk Bird shirt on. Thursday morning now in September, we have bird hikes every Thursday morning, and this morning we were at Weston Bend State Park, a fantastic park, just north of Kansas City on the Missouri River. And it was a great hike, beautiful hike. It's weird, last week we had a really good hike at Parkville Nature Sanctuary. It's very close to here, and last week's diversity was higher, and that was in the midst of all that wind from the north, and so warblers were being blown in, and we were seeing those, and vireos and tanagers. Well, today it was interesting. It was still a good hike, almost a comparable list of birds numbers wise. But it just didn't have quite. We had no warblers today, which is really interesting. So fall birding, it can be challenging, but it's also fun. And backyards with the hummingbirds and things. We're going to get to all those, but remember, we are in Kansas City, Missouri, so we're here in the heart of the country. And when it always helps, you guys, the regulars, are already doing it. They checking in from where you're from, like your name, and I know your usernames can be confusing. So. And it takes me a while to remember whose real name. And so if you want me to call you by your real name, it would be great when you check in to say, "Hi, this is Andrew from Cincinnati." That helps a lot. That tells me what part of the country you're in, and your name that you go by, because sometimes the usernames don't mesh. And so I know Lisa, I called her Working Bulldog forever, and then I finally learned her name was Lisa. I remembered her name was Lisa, so that really helps. So, and when it helps me address questions from what part of the country you're in. So thank you. We always, like I said, we always give this intro time because it takes time for these apps and platforms to all get caught up. So let's go and start welcoming some people in. There's Carrie Beth, my store manager and good friend. Yes, she's a big Packers fan. So she is having, she's trying to split watching this and watching the Packers game and all that. So her attention will truly be divided tonight, and don't blame her. Andrew from Cincinnati, welcome in. Thank you for your continued support as a member. Hello from Southern West Virginia. That is awesome. Yeah, I don't know how many viewers we have in West Virginia. So wonderful. It's a beautiful state. I love West Virginia. We drive through there on the way home. That's one of our northern routes we take when we go to North Carolina. And let's see. Oh, people talking to each other. Yeah, absolutely. So always, hi, Jim K from Minneapolis. Welcome in. Hi, Steve from East Tennessee. Yep, absolutely. A real regular. Has been on here when we used to be Steve from South Alabama. Now he's from the East Tennessee. You did. Andrew got his T-shirt that we sent him after the live last 2 weeks ago. We did that, and he asked me to sign it, so I signed the shirt. I'm glad you like it. A Mark's Bird Nerds T-shirt we sent him for
being a member for a year.
For being a member for a year. All right, let's see. Hi, Carol and Jay from right up the road. They were regulars on our bird hike. They were out this morning with us. Steve K. Starting to see a decrease in hummingbirds. Yes, that's going to be part of a theme tonight. We're going to be talking about that and how you guys in the South, the real South, are starting to see them and are getting excited because their numbers are getting ready to go way up. Down to 2 hummingbirds now, Andrew. Yeah, in Cincinnati. Absolutely. Hello, Lisa. Welcome in from Canada. Yeah, only one left. I understand. That's it. Hello, Rick from North Carolina. How many hummers do you have left, Rick? I know that your numbers are decreasing.
Can I make a comment on if they can hear me? But Sophie watches the YouTube channel all day, or listens to it rather.
Yeah.
This afternoon when I came home, the video that was playing was the first time Rick Burris from North Carolina commented because he said, finally catching you from North Carolina. And you were like, oh, Melanie and I are from Red Springs, blah, blah, blah. So I thought that was kind of
really cool. Yeah. And the other thing about that video, that it was alive, and we're sitting there, it just playing, and I look up, and behind me, in the old house, I see this little white head sitting on the back of our old recliner. So you could only see her head, but she was kind of photobombing that live, and I never was aware of it.
That was her bird watching spot.
That was her bird watching spot. She watched the backyard from that spot. Yep, that's right. Hi, Sophie. Andrew says hi. All right. Molly Trout, welcome in from Springfield, Illinois. Hi, Boston guy. How are you? You still have hummingbirds that far north. That's interesting, and that's good. Yeah, I'm sure they're thinning out. I would think they would be for sure. But yeah, it's good to know. We're trying to get all points of the compass.
I answered her. No,
you didn't get your spa day. Yes.
It's in the works, so hopefully soon.
Yeah. It's crazy right now for us. We got a lot of irons in the fire right now. Hello, Matthew Bennell from New Jersey. Hello from Red Hills of South Georgia. Boy, there's a lot of red clay down in your part of the world, and it's very slippery. And then when it gets wet, you got tires sliding on it. I know it well. Hi, Zach. How are you? Welcome in. Hello, Kathy Sparks, another real regular from Greenwood, Indiana. You still have some hummingbirds as well. Excellent. Jim K. Now, it was 4 days ago. Now, you're Jim from Minnesota? I got a Jimmy from Tennessee. I think you're from Minnesota. So. Yep, things are definitely moving south.
Hi.
All right. All right, here goes the friend. Oh, hey, Kurt, you're also got an eye on the Packers game, I'm sure. All right.
I know. If I only got paid.
I'm a doubler salary, I'm telling you. All right. Hello, Ariana from Arizona. Welcome in. I love it. Like I said, you guys communicating back and forth. People get to make friends. It's great.
Did you skip some?
No.
Did you get that one?
No, that's a separate. I don't know what that's about.
That's Justin.
Justin. Hello. Thank you.
$10.
Thank you for the $10 bump. You can see that, folks. And anybody wants to do that, that helps us out. And that also helps us with YouTube. When the YouTube sees that people are, impressed and they like the channel, they like the content, and they give us a bump like that, it helps us with YouTube for sure. Thank you so much for valuing us. Hello, James from New Jersey. I haven't seen you on for maybe 2 or 3 episodes, so welcome back. All right. How's that short? You
got you out of some sticky situation.
Got me out of sticky situation. Well, not yet, but hopefully it will. No, I'm not saying I'm not lost sometimes, that's for sure, but when I've got my binos hanging around my neck, you can bet I know where I am and where I'm supposed to be. Loitering in a menacing fashion. Yes. We've been called on our bird watching trips at times. I know in Texas, we got called on one time and the sheriff came out and, he came out and said, "Oh, you guys are bird watching." I said, "Yes." He said, "Never mind." And he left. It's just, it kind of thing does happen. That's for sure. All right. Yes, you had a bay-breasted warbler yesterday and a magnolia today. Oh, I love it. Absolutely. All right. Did you? Excellent. I haven't got to see it. And I can't believe, now Melanie is trying to come out of her shell a bit as far as being in front of the camera. And I
did not show my face.
Oh, you didn't?
But I talked the entire time because I didn't know how to do it and get the camera switched and all that. So anyway,
she did it while I wasn't there.
I confess, but I did it.
Okay.
I did it.
That helped me. She's actually in a class, folks. And one of the assignments is to do some 4 lives or whatever. And this was one of them that she did today. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, we haven't done one in a while, so a lot of folks haven't seen the inside of the store, and we were getting comments on there.
Oh, that's that. Okay.
There you go. There it is. It was weird. It was up at the top of the screen this time. I'm glad. Thank you again. Sandy from Kankakee, Illinois, a very regular contributor. Great photographer. Zach. All right. Rhonda Wilms, welcome in. Hi there.
I think that's Lisa from Canada's friend.
Oh, is that right?
Is that right, Rhonda? I think so.
Yeah, I'm telling you. It's good to have memory. Denio Hawkeye State. All right. Your neighbor next door to the north. Absolutely. Denny, I've said this many times, and I truly feel this way. I have felt, and, I have no allegiance or whatever, but I think the Iowa Hawkeye logo is the best logo in college football. I love that logo. I just think it is so crisp and so well done. I truly appreciate that logo. Absolutely. Justin, thank you so much. Hi, this is Lori from southeastern Michigan. Welcome in. Minneapolis, Kansas. Boy, that'll throw you off. Wait, did I expect to go Kansas there, Christy? I'm sure we're Essex, Ontario, Canada. Okay. All right.
Oh, I got the Canada right.
Yep. Yep. One of my North Carolina people here, my old stomping ground. I used to work at the North Carolina Museum of Life and Science there in Durham. And that's where I really started my teaching career, Donna, before moving out to Missouri. So love Durham. Going to the old Durham Bulls games. Oh, Jennifer Warren from Kentucky. Welcome in.
Fangirling right now.
Fangirling. Okay.
This is my first live.
Welcome. Absolutely. Thank you for the new people. I know you guys are regular.
Welcome.
Absolutely. Even the new ones are coming in. I can tell by my Zoom in photography that bodies, feathers. That's right. Exactly right. Especially with cameras. If you get good shots, you can tell by the molt and things that condition the presence and absence of red feathers in the gorget and things like that. You can identify different birds. And you're right. And let's see, we get a couple more, and then we're going to get into hummingbirds. Down to 1. Excellent. Yep. Hi, Michelle Baker. How are you?
Hi, Michelle.
Let's see, 3 hummers yesterday. Didn't watch today, but cleaned and filled the feeder at dawn. Excellent. Yes. Molly Trout, I'm in Kankakee. That's right. You guys, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, you guys were talking. down a ton of hummingbirds. Still have about 5 to 8. Yeah, Rick's been sending me videos. Oh my gosh, he has had those hummingbirds, and he sent me he sent me a great picture. I wish I'd loaded it tonight of his rack with like 6 or 8 hummingbird feeders that are the second string, where you clean those up and get them ready, and then you go take your other ones down and put those. You've got an impressive setup, that's for sure. Dedicated. Use that. Papa and Mama hummingbirds are headed south. Lots of hummingbird children. Yep, that's right. And the bees. All the bees are quite a problem. My feeders right now. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to get to the topics real quick, and then we'll get back to more questions and answers and greetings. Jen, I see from Jen G from Maine. I'm sorry. Yeah, and then because I had at least 3 hummingbirds still coming to my feeders. At least up there. Yeah, you're up there north. So, all right. Yeah, well, that's good. You got the nest, the fledgling goldfinches. That's something that's really busy now. And then, boy, they're going to disappear, folks. I can tell you.
Okay, so Rick will be where we're at.
Okay. Natural birds are back. Also, monarch butterflies are getting ready to bust out. Absolutely. Oh, hello, Denise from Washington State. All right. Now we're going to, and Sandy, we're going to take up with you when we get back. So, I am going to, yeah, definitely talk about hummingbirds. And this young man used to work for me years ago, and now he lives down in Florida. And he took this picture to me and said, "This is the really beautiful the ceramic made, and the husband does the ceramics, and the wife does the artwork. Those are called lone wolf feeders." And he took the picture of him just holding it, and the hummingbirds coming right to it. And people ask us about the hummingbird rings and things like that. This is not an uncommon sight, folks. I mean, hummingbirds, they're so brave, and they're such good flyers. They have really high confidence. And so for them to come up and feed right out of your hand. But where's the state of hummingbirds yesterday? I was on a live yesterday with Dana in Arkansas on her channel, and we did about an hour long, pretty close to an hour long program, live watching her feeders and talking about hummingbirds. And Melanie's going to try to find the link to that. It actually was, I thought it went really well. Yeah. And Dana is going to be on with me live. We don't know exactly the Thursday night is going to be, but we're going to talk about journaling. She's really, she's kept a journal for a long time, and she, our plants and her birds and things like that. And I've got some old journals of mine, and we're going to talk about that and some tips on journaling and how important it is, and hopefully, and it maybe inspire you to start keeping track. But hummingbirds are definitely in their fall migration. And then, if you talked before, you've heard me talk about the adult males leave first, typically, and the adult females leave next. And then the young are the ones that are, I don't know, I've never done this before. I'm going to stay here. This is where I live. I don't want to leave. And so they're more reluctant, and they will eventually bug out. Their instincts will take over. And this always brings up that question of, if I don't take my hummingbird feeder down, will they stay and freeze to death and starve and all that? No, folks, not at all. That's not how migration works. There's food availability to them, but migration in birds, I've said it many times, is triggered by day length. So the shortening of sunlight hours is what triggers in wild animals and birds who migrate regularly every year. They need to start heading south. And so what they're doing now, and I know you've seen it at your feeders, wherever you are, you've seen these guys chasing each other around, and they're drinking a lot, and you're going through lots of nectar because they're fattening up. They're laying on the fat layer, laying on the calories, because that flight that they take every night, about 100 to 125 miles a day, that's what typically hummingbirds do. And when they finally land in a drop out of the sky, they are absolutely looking for food sources, because they've got to refuel. And hummingbird feeders are great, but flower beds and hanging baskets, potted plants, all of those really, really help them. And so we not only do we not recommend taking down your hummingbird feeder too soon because you're afraid it'll make them stay. Actually, hummingbird feeders that are left up later can really help straggling late hummingbirds. And there's always late birds and there's always early birds. It's just how the natural world works. But the caveat to that is if you're not going to maintain your hummingbird feeders because you're burnt out and I'm not seeing any activity, I just want to take them in, fine. Definitely take them in rather than leaving them out and let that nectar go bad. Let it turn, and then the hummingbird comes along and risks getting sick from it. So if you're willing to leave your hummingbird feeders out and maintain them, then yes, leave them out as long as you're willing to do that. The examples I give, we had a Ruehle hummingbird here that stayed till Thanksgiving Day a few years ago. We had a Anna's hummingbird turn up in central Missouri in December, and the homeowner had a heat lamp on the hummingbird feeder so it wouldn't freeze, and the Annas could keep in. And yes, ruby throats linger and they come through late, and so late hummingbird feeders can help birds along, those stragglers that are late coming through. But again, not at all if you're not going to maintain them. If you're going to forget about them and leave them up there and the nectar go bad, no, I'd rather you take them in than that. But also remember your landscaping. You plant native vegetation and you've got flowers that bloom late in the season. These birds have got food, and they're going to eat from natural sources. So that is a big part of catering to later hummingbirds. But I know, again, you've seen the comments of people who in Minnesota and southern Canada and Boston, and most people from Point starting south, Andrew in Cincinnati and Rick in North Carolina, us in here in Kansas City, we're seeing thinning numbers, and this is exactly how it should work. And the 1st of September, we've had 10 days. Like I said, we had those 10 days of north wind, so birds were bugging out, and they're headed south. But also, Lisa's birds in Ontario are showing up here for us, and so that process will continue through September. Again, further north, the show is going to be over, and your hummingbirds are pretty much going to be gone fairly soon, maybe the next 2 weeks of the first. But here from Kansas City and then south and Texas, and I've had emails from folks that are like in Alabama or Mississippi, and they're saying, "Oh, these hummingbirds are finally coming in," so they're getting their fall numbers to come in. And some of them were over-winter down there, but many of them are going to keep going down into southern Mexico and Guatemala and boy, coffee bean plantations, got shade-grown coffee plantations, so important for them. But they're going to head that way. And yes, most of them, we've learned this from when they finally had a tracking device, a radio transmitter that's small enough to attach to hummingbirds, and those transmitters pinging off of cell phone towers. We know now that most of those hummingbirds, when they get to the Gulf Coast, they just fly around the coast, down the Texas coast, down Mexican coast, that way. Not many fly over the Gulf of Mexico as we thought many years ago. That spring migration, there's a big jump across the Gulf of Mexico, sorry, and in the spring is more common, but in the fall you get that land migration down the coast there. So that's what's going on. So again, as long as you're patient and you're willing to refill, they definitely do that. Now, the things that we get excited about this time of year and our bird feeders, the bird feeders have been house finches and house sparrows mostly for now most of the summer, and we get frustrated and like, oh my gosh, I'm tired of feeding them. Some people quit feeding in the summer, vacations, all those things. But one of the things that excites us in September, fall migration happening, all of a sudden we get people going, I had a red-breasted nuthatch at my feeder. I had a red-breasted nuthatch at my bird bath. I'm so excited. This is going to be an invasion year. Are we going to an eruption year? Are we going to have lots of those in the area? And I've learned over the years, you got to temper that a little bit, because there's a certain number of these red birds, as we call them, the red crossbills and the red-breasted nuthatches and purple finches, things like that pass through our area and overwinter in the pine forest of East Texas and Central Arkansas, and maybe even Southern Missouri. But that's their preferred habitat. But as many reports as we're getting over the last week, it's encouraging. You think that maybe this is going to be an eruption year, and we're going to have them in our bird feeders all winter, which is great. And they love peanuts, they love sunflower kernels, things like that. So I wonder, you guys up north, what you're seeing or hearing of red-breasted nuthatches so far. But right now, it's encouraging. We look forward to the years that they're in. They're so fun and they're so tame. You can go out there and pick that peanut feeder up and they'll stay on the side of it, just look at you. They don't know to be afraid of people. And of course, the other red of that is quite often red crossbills. And we start looking and listening for them now, and they turn up and, obviously they're adapted with that crossbill to pop out pine seeds of cones. And so it's where we really look for them when we're bird watching are good pine stands, which there's not a ton of in Kansas City, but we regularly check those. There's a couple of graveyards have some big pines and stuff like that, but they will turn up at bird feeders as well. One of the beliefs is that because of the wildfires in the Northwest, that we may get birds pushed down from that direction this winter. Crossbills are certainly ones that can come in from the Northwest. So we're going to keep our eyes on that too. But things to get excited about. The last one I'm going to put up here for now, and then we're going to get back to a couple of questions is, Juncos. When will the Juncos arrive? This is when we start getting questions every year. Now, the reason I chose this picture is that it really illustrates something that, it is not, I put up nice, crisp, clean pictures of dark-eyed Juncos. Well, this is actually taken in the Black Hills of South Dakota, and this is a juvenile white-winged crossbill form that is exclusive to that area. They nest up there, but it also shows that when they're young, of course, being disheveled, but you've got when they're young, they have striping on them for camouflage, and then they slowly molt into their adult plumage. But this is the Juncos will. We used to do the Junco contest every year at the store. Who's going to have the first Junco? In our area, it seems like in backyards, it's almost around the first week of October. Now, when we're on our bird hikes in late September, we'll encounter Juncos in the field on our bird hikes. But it seems like they're here at least a good 2 weeks before they really start to show up in people's backyards. Now, every year it can be different, but you guys up to the north, you may already have Juncos in your backyard. It just depends. So, because I know there are nests all over in Pennsylvania and places where they don't go up there to the edge of the Arctic Circle, but start looking for those this time of year. That's all part of September birding. So, all right, let's see. Let's get back to where was Sandy? You were.
You're gonna have to go up.
No, it was Sandy.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay.
I've been having 46 every day. I just moved 230 hummingbird pictures from the camera, and yes, they are appealing targets with the camera, aren't they? And they're fascinating. And we talked about on the program yesterday with Dana, about how they fly, doing their wings do the figure eight, and they're always producing lift no matter which way their wings are going, and just all the wonderful facts about them that make them so incredibly special. But people love them, and I don't blame them. And then they'll be back at tax day. Yeah. Hi from Pennsylvania, Mr. Spinnerbug. I like that. All right. And the Ontario Canada had a hummingbird at the feeder a few days ago, but it looked like it didn't get past the V cards. Yeah, they're pretty smart. And especially if it's a young bird, yes, you're right. For a baby, they have to learn. They have got to learn the ropes. And that may have been what it was. They just couldn't figure it out. And I've had so many bees in the last 2 to 3 weeks, but my hummingbirds just go in and feed right among them. The honeybee, they don't bother them. They might chase them for a second, but bees really don't pose a threat to hummingbirds. A wasp could possibly, but it's super rare for even a wasp to try to sting a hummingbird. So I have a hummingbird feeder, a saucer type that the bees can't get into, close to my camera feeder, which the bees can get to. And they feed on both of them. They feed there among the bees, and they'll go over to the other one, and the bees stay off of the saucer type, the aspect little fancy, if I will. Yeah, over there. So have the Bird Nerd logo put onto the back of some hats. I like that suggestion, Rick. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Sandy and Carrie. Had 300 feeders a day, Mr. Spinnerbug. Hello, SoCal. Welcome in. Frontier, one of our regular West Coast people. It's always good to see you join in with us. Lisa, I was so active with migrating birds this morning. I warbler came down from a tree and almost flew in. was a baby breast. And you know what? There's a lot of, I don't know. Okay. Sandy, I know you had that picture you posted the other day, and I commented, I call them the fall wing bar warblers. They're really 4, but one of them is pretty easy to tell by itself. But we talked about confusing fall warblers, and my books I like to have to help you distinguish this. But when it comes to bay-breasted, blackpoll, and pine warblers in fall plumage, they are not easy to separate. And of course, getting a really good picture like you did, Sandy, that really helps to be able to slow it. But in the field, when they're bouncing all over the place, that is a definite challenging identification in fall migration. So is it gray on the neck, or is it yellow on the neck? Does it have stripes on its back, or does it have light streaks on its back, etc.? It's a study to really get that differentiation down. There's some cams that capture more time.
Oh, the camera. Oh, how they captured the little seconds.
Yeah, the only ones that I've used, you can set it for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or 20-second snippets. And then, of course, we stream it live at the store. And so it's on live. But as far as capturing those little videos, those are the only 3 settings the camera feeder I use has.
What does the blink cameras do?
Yeah, the blink camera, I'm not exactly sure. For some reason, I think it may be
15 seconds.
Yeah, there may be 15 and 30 seconds. So they should have a setting to be able to do that for the hummers. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever bird trips it, and the hummingbirds are, and the way whether they stay 5 seconds, but if they stay if you got it set for 20 seconds, that's all, and it's going to turn it off again, and then it'll trip it again, and it'll keep recording. But that's just to keep the batteries from burning out so easily in them. Yes, she's Lisa's friend. Hi, Mel.
I thought so.
Yeah. The tour of the store was great. Now this is Ellie, who is a very frequent customer at our store, saying this. Thank you. Yep. And Ellie loves the wind chimes, by the way, that we got in. She has purchased several of those. Hello from St. Louis, Missouri. Hello, east part of the state. I've learned a bunch from this channel. Thank you so much, Matthew. Thank you. It really, I'm telling you, that kind of information, that input really makes us feel like we're on the right track. I'm glad you enjoyed the channel. Hello, Jimmy. There's my other Jim from Tennessee, and then we have Jim on from Minnesota. Janet and Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, again, another good state for us.
That's the link to the live.
If you want to watch the live we did, like I said, I think it was 52 minutes or something long, with Dana and I. This is the link. Melanie put it on there. Dana has a charity, and her channel is Molly's Firehouse. Dana Hilton was one of the preeminent, she's probably one of the most important people in this country for educating children on fire safety. And Molly was her Dalmatian, and they used to tour all over and do fire safety programs for children. And Molly passed away a couple of years ago, and what she did to honor her was build a flower garden and bird feeders. And when she was doing that, she discovered Mark's Backyard Bird Channel and was a real regular follower. And I really, she got a lot of information from me and text me and back and forth. And I helped her with, expanding, the appeal of her yard. And like you guys, you call me Captain Water. And she said that was the most important thing I taught her, the importance of water. And she added 3 or 4 water sources in her yard, and it turned everything around for her. The number of birds and types of birds. And so, yeah,
check out her channel.
You want to check out her
channel. She live streams 24/7.
Yeah.
Her garden.
She does. She has live going on 24/7 of her garden. And it's fun to turn it on. Molly's Firehouse. And it's worth a visit. Friendly reminder, hit the script. Thank you so much, Steve. Share the videos and the hype when it pops up. Hype helps the smaller. You are absolutely right, Steve. And somebody wrote a nasty message to Melanie's post about, I could care less. And it's like, folks, it's okay. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But why do you have to leave a snarky comment?
Yeah.
But it's it's all about, if you like a channel and you want to see it do well, hype is a way for you to help promote the channel, because when other people hype you, it means a lot.
Yeah.
And it's simple as it can be.
Yeah, and I think we're going to try to do a little video to show people, because it's only on the mobile.
Yeah, it's only on mobile devices. You can't do it from your TV or your
it's different
desktop.
From the iPhone to the Android. So
my only plans to do a little video about it. It's brand new. And everybody,
not all channels got it.
So. Yeah, not everybody has it, but we do. So it's great. We thank you for the support.
Tell them how close we are to.
Oh, we're less than 100 subscribers away from 20,000. Hey, thank you so much.
So share.
Right. Our God, I can't talk, Andrew. Sorry. Our ruby-throated hummingbird starting to not go as far south as they. Well, we have to look at that data long term, and a lot of Christmas bird counts and Project Feeder Watch, and all of this data it is getting compiled, and it is believed, like many species, they're not going as far south as they have to. It just depends, and also their birds are not nesting in certain regions, and nesting regions are shifting south because the weather's hotter and drier, and insect populations are less in the hotter southern states, and we're seeing birds nesting further and further north that they never did before. I was talking about the scissor-tail flycatcher is a prime example of that. One of our viewers from Oklahoma said he hardly ever sees them anymore, and that's a state bird, and now they have them regularly in Iowa. And there is definitely shifts going on, Andrew. That's for sure. Red-breasted nuthatches. I was thinking of asking you about them. I have not seen them in over a year. Has something happened to them? They're not a bird of concern, Sandy, but they are very sporadic, and they're eruptive, as we call them. As long as they have good pine seed crops up where on their nesting grounds in that area, they'll stay there. I mean, why risk that dangerous migration any further south than you have to? Some will migrate and shift to the south, but when we see them in good numbers, Sandy, is whenever there is a pine seed crop failure, and then we have great invasions of them. They're all over, and they're so fun to watch. So it's probably just been a couple of years, and it almost, when I remember, 30 years ago, it used to be almost every other winter we'd have them. Sometimes 2 winters in a row. But anymore, the winters are milder, and they're able to survive further and further north with lower seed crops because the stress isn't as high. So my guess is that's what's going on. I was at my girlfriend's feeder last week while drinking a sugary drink. Did not notice a yellow. Oh no! I have had that. Mine got stung on my eyebrow one time. One stung me on my thumb, and I shook my hand, and the yellow jacket, it flicked him up, and he landed on it stung me right on the eyebrow. And of course, I looked like a Cro-Magnon or Neanderthal or whatever. My eyebrow, and it is so painful. Oh, I feel for you, Matthew. All right, where are we? Boston guy. Haven't seen him in my area for a few years. Yeah, it just depends. And the next thing you know, it makes us appreciate him more in the winters that we do have him, Boston guy. It's we love him. Oh no, yeah, afraid it is going to happen to me because yes, yellow jackets. We were talking about them on the bird hike today. Oh boy, they hurt. Yep, frontier. Yep, you guys at certain areas of the country, and especially if you're up in elevation, you have a better chance of having juncos all year round. Waiting for the white crown sparrows. Usually the end of September they show up. All right. Yep, that is again a winter invader for your area. Yep, and see a chipping sparrow. Yeah, chipping sparrows are going to be moving. And they don't stay here in the winter. They go down to South Missouri, is about as close as we get them here. But who knows? Over the coming years, they may start overwintering up here. Hadn't hung a yellow jacket. Some kind of have to worry too much about it. Yeah, I mean, we don't advocate killing them because they are useful parts of our environment. But boy, especially if you have any kind of allergy, it's just like a copperhead crawling across your front porch. You don't want that snake around children and where you can be stepped on. And yes, if you can move them, that's great. I know yellow jackets is awfully hard to do, but yeah, I understand why you do it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they'll chase those little bees. No doubt about it. Let's fight with the yellow. Yeah, yellow jackets are more serious threat. Hello, Teresa Day. She was on our hike today. A bit late on my part. No problem. Yeah, she was on the bird hike, and her son Taylor was taking some great pictures. Down 2 this morning, and 2 more showed up this afternoon. Yeah, that's it. Moving in and moving out. No doubt about it. There's a beehive nearby. They have one of them a bird bass for camped out. That's right. They'll just line the rim of a bird bath and drink in the water. Absolutely. All right, let's go. Get back to a few of these things here.
And we're at Sandy again.
Oh, we're at Sandy again. Sandy, you seem to be my stopping point. But I really, I like to always have a conservation message and to explain why things are slowing down. I have these different things I like to get to, but the September slowdown's coming, folks. The feeders are going to slow, and the reason why is Mother Nature's bounty. And now this slide is very regular. We saw lots of poison ivy berries today. We saw wild grape. We saw pokeberry. We saw a lot of dogwood berries, And so the birds are going to take advantage of this. They're ripening up now. And so your feeders will slow down, and I get the calls every year. What did I do? Somebody fixed the handle on my deck. I'm afraid they left when they were doing that. No. This is what happens every year, and don't worry, it's coming. And then what your best friend is when the cold weather moves in. So they'll be back, but just know that your feeders are going to slow down. I always tell the story. I hate selling a new feeder setup or a pole and feeders and everything to someone who's never fed birds this time of year and to them, because I guarantee they're going to take it home. They're going to put it, and in a few days they're going to call you and say, nothing's come to my bird feeder. Well, this is just a naturally slow time of year, and getting into bird feeding right now sends the wrong message. But what do? In retail, we try to explain it. We try to warn them and let them know it's going to be when cold weather comes in. The official, unofficial bird feeding season is really for in our area about mid-November through July is what we consider the bird feeding season. So just know September and October are coming, folks. And this is why it one of the main reasons. And then the other thing I always try to do is talk a little bit about something that you should look for starting now in your area. And if you have access and go to bigger lakes and you bird watch around lakes, one of the birds that it's exciting that comes up, wrong picture. Let's go to this one first. Let's do this one first. This is to remind me to talk about lights out, and that is turning out all your outside lights in this time of year. In September and October, the heavy migration months, and fall, and of course, April and May and spring. This is dead birds that are picked up in one day in Chicago. I think this picture is from the Chicago Field Museum. And these all birds were killed in one night hitting buildings, and these are the ones they got to before the rats drug them off. And in turning off your outside lights is so important to birds in migration, especially on cloudy or rainy conditions, foggy conditions. It's even that much more dangerous. They're attracted to the light. So lights on in a high-rise building or outside beams and things like that they get trapped in it, and they get trapped in that light beam, if they will, and they'll fly to the point, and boom, they hit the window and they're dead. And we see it over and over again. So we try to spread the word every year in migration. Please, if you work somewhere that tends to leave their building lights on at night, they're inside lights too, but outside lights, we try to get communities to turn those lights out, especially big cities where there's so much of it. So it's really sad. And if that picture doesn't hit home, then it's truly a danger. All right, so we're going to remove that one. And so the lake bird I'm talking about, anyone want to tell me what this bird is? It is one of the truly tough identifications in field birding, but I want you to look at this, and I think everybody's first instinct will likely be that's some kind of a gull. Obviously it very much looks like a gull. But look at how big that bird's chest is. You talk about a powerful, powerful bird. That bird has a massive chest, and it means it's very, very strong. And it is one heck of a pirate. This is actually a long-tailed Jaeger. And we also have Pomeranian Jaegers and parasitic Jaegers that make their living stealing food from mainly gulls. So when we see them and we look for them around our area lakes, like Smithfield Lake, we always usually get them whenever there's a big influx of gulls. This is a lot of Franklin's gulls. And whenever they're congregating, there's lots of ring-billed gulls, which is in the fall and in the spring. That's when, you might be out there bird watching. All of a sudden you see this chocolate brown bird come in, and there might be a gull on the water, and it'll land on the back of that gull, and it will take its bill and it'll hold its head under the water and hold it until the bird regurgitates this fish, things that it's called. Then he lets the gull go, and then he picks up that fish and he flies away with it. That is a favorite hunting technique of Jaegers, and they're exciting to see. We usually, I know you guys up north or in the Great Lakes regions, you guys get to see them pretty regularly up there, especially in the fall. But down here, they're very prized birds. And if one hits the internet that there's one out of Smithfield Lake, I'm telling you, we'll have people driving from hundreds of miles away to come see it, because they are that uncommon down here. And their identification, all three of the juvenile, the plumages of all three gulls look like this. There are differences. They can be separated out, but it is very, very challenging. There's no substitute for really good pictures. This picture, this one showed up a few years ago, and it was like September 17th, I think, when it was there. And Mary, our friend Mary, who's been on before, rented a pontoon boat. We loaded up some people, and we drove around the lake, and that's how we got these pictures. It was because they tend to stay out in the middle of the lake, and so getting really good looks from shore can be tough too. But and we were able to get this down to long-tail Jaeger, one of the three species. So you look for that behavior. If you're this is my bird watching segment, and this is something to be on the lookout here in fall. They're exciting birds, and they are really incredible hunters. And boy, don't they put a hurting on gulls. All right, Sandy, we're back at you again. Camera feed, a cheap one, goes up to 3 minutes. Interesting. I just adjusted it to a lower because, yeah. And the thing about those videos is you have to go in and delete them and have cloud space for them if you want to keep them all. And that's part of my challenge. how many videos do I need of house finches and house sparrows and things like that? So Sandy, yeah, and hummingbirds as well. This is a good one. This is a good one. The next thing you do, you have 50 more good ones just like it. So that's my challenge with the camera feeders too. As soon as I realized how many birds there are, I went and grabbed my camera. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Whenever in migration, when you get a good pass through or fallout from warblers at night, and I'll say, oh my gosh, you got to start clicking. Lisa, the old alternative to that, and I had a guy tell me this one time. She said, there's an older gentleman lives next to my in-laws in North Carolina. He said, well, those warblers, you just can't tell them apart. We used to have to shoot them to pick them up just so we could tell them apart, because all of them look alike and that kind of thing. So, yeah, little 410 shotguns used to be the camera of that era of identifying warblers. Have you ever thought of maybe enlighten us on the different camera folks use on their your backyard tours? We need to have a photography live and have on some of my real regular, like Taylor, who's the next person up, and Brian Voorhees and Mary, who are experienced photographers, because I am not, and I can't speak to any level of real expertise on cameras, but I have people who can. I think that's a really good idea. We should have a live on that. Hello, speaking of one of those fantastic photographers, I don't know if you know the haiku box is that's out there now, that it is constantly recording the songs and identifying birds that it catches flying over and in your yard and songs. It's really a neat device. And it picks up things like Caspian tern flying over your yard, things like that. That boy, if that's not a yard bird, but if it was flying over and it caught it. So yeah, the haiku box, it is really a pretty neat investment. Well, thanks for your help. Just fed my Jane in the water cooler, absolutely. Listen every morning and evening for the catbirds, hoping they'll still around New York. I hope. Yeah, they will be departing soon. Yeah, they are such fun birds. Those and the brown thrashers, I love them both. And boy, they definitely, again, I think more are like in Missouri, we're having more catbirds over winter here than we used to. Questions that was asked earlier. But I don't know, New York, that's a bit far. Most of them will move out. Jimmy, I have been going on the bird hikes this year. I said, all right, absolutely. I know 100 to 400s are very popular lens that I see out there today. I saw a couple, 3 of those. And I know everybody has their personal preferences. Watch Nikons and different Canon, and I know people have their preferences. So yeah, it'd be great to have an open discussion about that. What is hype? I've never seen that.
Okay, so I did do a couple posts in the community group or the community page on YouTube about it. So hype is a way to support smaller channels, and YouTube is the one who assigns the hype. And when you're watching a video, it could have a hype button below it. With the way I found it is swiping over on the comment from swiping from the right to the left on the iPhone. And then you see the hype and you click on it and it assigns points. And every person can do 3 hypes in 7 days. I think that's right. So anyway, I posted some of that and I thought that we would try to do a video. We got to figure out how to.
And it is only on the mobile device.
It is only on the mobile device. Yeah. Yes.
And so it's your chance to hype my channel, my video, or anybody else on YouTube that may have, because like Melanie said, not everybody gets assigned the hype feature yet. I think you have to reach a certain level with YouTube before they do that. And we're thankfully had made that. Yeah. So it's a chance for you. Again, another version of the like button is the hype button. And that tells YouTube this is popular. People like this. And so we're going to push it out, and give it a little more exposure.
And if you're a good YouTube user, which I'm not, it's good about watching videos.
Yeah.
But on the left-hand side, when you're in YouTube, there used to be a trending button where you could go in and look at trending videos. Well, now that button is a hype button, and it goes in and it shows you the top 100 hyped videos by different categories. So I've looked around at that, but yeah, go look at the community post on YouTube. I gave some screenshots straight from YouTube.
And our category is animal and pets.
Pets and animals.
Pets and animals. They're limited category that they have, and that fits us better. Gardening, I guess we could possibly be there, but really it's all about animals. And
it's where YouTube puts you based on your
content.
Yeah, your content and your words and all that.
Absolutely. Hi, Derek, is a real regular from Illinois. I'm happy for all of the news as birds migrating. Yes, absolutely. One thing we did last that is, one of the great things coming is the blackbirds moving out into the fields. And so, what a lot of people call it the safflower season. They only feed safflower when the grackle and the redwings and everybody are here to help slow them down. And this is whenever people get to transition back to Nuttenberry or Mark's No Waste blend, their favorite blends. But yeah, during the summer when all the blackbirds are here, now we get to celebrate them moving out. Shop this. Oh yes, Ellie, thank you for that reminder. Okay, we happened on a deal. We bought out a lady whose grandfather had a YouTube store, online store. And he got told he couldn't maintain it. And so she had all this garage full and basement full of stuff. And so we bought some stuff last year that we regularly carry in our store. Well, this year she contacted us and said, look, the guy who's going to buy it all off of me backed out. And I still have a lot of stuff. and I want it out of my house. I want it out of my basement. I want it out of my garage. And so we went down there and we made it in our office, and we bought all of it. And we moved it. We've been sorting in the garage. Well, there's a lot of stuff we're never going to carry in our store. So we're having a sidewalk sale, and I call a red, and also a red tag sale. So on the outside, on the sidewalk, and of course temperatures are going to be up around 92, 93. Last week it was 79. But we're going to have a sidewalk sale, and we're going to have a lot of those are one of a kind items that this guy had, and things are going to be $2, $5, and $10. So they're having on the sidewalk. They're going to have stickers on them, and that's it. And those all sales are final. And then in the store, we're going to have some stuff that we go to a big buyer show at the last week of the month, and we're trying to make some room. And so we're going to have stuff marked down on the inside of the store too, and with red tags, orange tags, so that you get specials on that. So that's what Ellie's talking about. So we sent out an email for it.
Yeah. So if you're in Kansas City,
you're in the Kansas City area.
Saturday and Sunday.
Yep. All day. Hello from Kansas City, Missouri. Hello, Sue. I'm watching the video now, and I have 2 Hummers feeding head mama feeders. I will be in the store to get some seed. Well, we will see you soon for sure. What unique birds can we look forward to in New Jersey area this winter? Well, that's some of what we're talking about. The red-breasted nuthatches. Hopefully, they'll move in for you. Always worth looking for red crossbills in winter. Yellow-belly sapsuckers come in winter. Obviously Juncos and white-crowned sparrows and white-throated sparrows. A lot of these regular feeder birds. Now, as far as being unique to New Jersey, that takes a little more specialization. That takes a lot of getting out and looking for them. And you guys, with all the water you have closer to the shore, there are gulls and terns and birds that winter down there and that are worth looking for. And of course, you got waterfowl coming in, and lots of ducks and lots of geese in the winter months. But at your feeders, it's a lot of the birds that we talk about. The feeder birds just become more prevalent, and they also their numbers are certainly increase in the winter months when they move from the south. Move from the north to the south. So, can they adapt as fast as climate? Oh, that's $1 million question, Molly. It's happening, and it's a gradual change, and those that can adapt survive. Those that don't go extinct, and that's it. We can open that can of worms and talk about that on another program. How can I attract crows to my yard? Your other birds won't like the crows, that's for sure. But the number one food that I see recommended for crows is in-shell peanuts, because crows are famous for storing food, having a food cache and store, and so the in-shell peanuts are easier for them to take and hide and come back to it later. But that is by far the number one bird seed food you can put out to attract crows. Absolutely. You're very welcome. That's good. You did. Yep. There's something in the way down there.
Go, Pat, go.
So I take it they've scored, huh?
Tap like.
Please do. Please tap the like. Give us a share if you can. Let YouTube know you like what's going on, for sure.
And I have learned recently people were saying they didn't get the notification. So if you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button twice to make the bell to be from empty to full, and that way you'll get the notifications.
Well, Frontier, you are absolutely right. Jaegers are skuas. They're the same group. Skuas are the names for mostly the really big ones. And yes, South Polar skua and North Polar skua, that we see them. I've seen those. It's all South Polar skua on a trip out of San Diego, California a few years ago on a pelagic. So yeah, they are terrorists in the bird world. The skuas and the Jaegers. You're right. Hi, Brian from Leavenworth. Hope you're doing well. See you back on the hikes here before long. Had a lot of native plants this year. Excellent. Oh, absolutely. You know how much we promote native plants and native vegetation, and the native plant sale was last weekend at our store. It was the most successful one ever. The message is getting out, and people were shopping like crazy for they had a record number of pre-order plants that they came and picked up at the store last Saturday. So bravo on the native plants. Yeah. Yep. I'm sorry. Yeah, Jan. Just go. Yeah, that's a heartbreaking picture. It really is. The dead birds. Peanuts, peanut butter sandwiches, peanuts, cheap hot dogs, cat food, dog. Yeah,
scraps.
Chicks get scraps. I always say you want to attract crows, turn your trash can over, and boy, they'll be there. Absolutely. Are they common? I'm sorry, I've lost what was common in Cincinnati, Andrew. So yeah, let me know which one you're talking about. And they're very noisy babies. Are really turned to my feeders. Yes, and remember, your goldfinches are going to be there for about 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden, all your goldfinches will disappear, and you'll push the panic button. And of course, so many people believe that they migrate and they're gone, but no, they're just moving out into the fields and eating the natural seeds. And while they're out there now, they're going to molt from that bright yellow to that olive drab. And so when they show back up at your feeders, you're going to go, oh, they're not here anymore. They think they're different birds, but yeah. You see my, where is it? Oh, it is. There it is. My favorite statue, my Carolina parakeet behind it. It is my dream bird, not the ivory-billed woodpecker. But if I want to see the bird brought back, Carolina parakeet's my dream bird. Good observation. How about a pelican? Pelican. Not exactly sure. Haven't had house sparrows all spring and summer. Wow, that's amazing. You were so lucky if you haven't had them, because boy, I can tell you, we've been overrun with them. YouTube plague, not clock. Absolutely. Oh yes, and red-breasted nuthatches. You more likely even to have them to us, probably, Andrew. And yes, they'll eat suet, peanut suet. They shelled peanuts and the peanut feeders, etc. And Melanie's pointing out, boy, look at that. I'm gonna block him. Okay, I saw about the sidewalk sale, but I thought it was odd that they would have so much stuff that would go on. Yeah, and then that, yeah, there's some Oriole feeders and there are different things that, I just don't carry them in my store, but people want to try them. They want to invest a few dollars in it. They are welcome to do it. Roosting pockets for the native birds as gets colder. Absolutely. The roosting pockets are invented by the British, and they've been successful here. It gives people good, safe places, their birds safe places to get out. They might. My chickadees and Carolina wrens love them, and that's what I do them for sure. Are perfect for people with low vision. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. All right, guys, we are over. So the last slide that I had that's not it. Remove. All right, was this one. And anybody know what this is? They're the common name for them are hedge apples. And they're about the size of a softball. Their official name is Osage oranges. And people see them this time of year, and they ask what they are. And does anything eat them? Well, the only thing we know that eats them are fox squirrels. And if you find one shredded to pieces on the ground, it's almost definitely a fox squirrel that did that. But really, they don't have a lot of wildlife value to them. And around here, what I learned about it when I moved here is people put them in their basement to keep the spiders out of their basement. There's all kind of different things about them. I asked a young man on a bird hike. I picked one up he was at a program years ago, and I said, "You know what it is?" He said, "Yeah, I know what that is." He said, "It's a hedge apple," and he said, "I got in real trouble when I was young because I threw one and hit my sister in the nose and broke her nose." So yeah, they are big and they're heavy, but you're going to start seeing those now in your area probably. It depends on where you live, but it's really cool. That is surprising that you don't have an absence of them for a while, Andrew. Yeah, and right now is a busy time for them. They disappear during the nesting season for a while, and then whenever the nature's bounty kicks in. Yeah, like I said, we're having catbirds over winter in Missouri more than we ever have now. So that's one of those shifts that we were talking about earlier. In the wild in September, a lot of fruit. Yeah, the thrushes, like the mimic thrushes, they subsidize on fruit in winter a lot. And then, of course, they're finding insects under the leaf litter and things like the robins do. Absolutely. We red-headed woodpeckers in the country. Yep. Well, I was going, yeah, we had red-headed woodpeckers today, and they migrate south. So we get more red-headed woodpeckers in the winter down here because they move out of the northern frozen country up north, and they settle in areas with good acorn crops in your area, Andrew, and ours, and a lot across the south. So,
good.
All right.
Let Sophie say bye.
Okay. Well, Sophie, you want to say goodbye? Let's see. Where are you? There you are. You see her? There's the Q-tip. She was very patient tonight. She didn't want to lodge a complaint. I want to go back upstairs. So say goodnight, everybody. All right.
Bye.
We appreciate your. Again, I apologize if I missed you. Things get kind of fast and furious. So you heard Melanie over there saying goodnight. Thank you so much. And as we always say at the end, and I've got an outro video now after this when I turn this off. But thanks for tuning in, folks. It's always a pleasure. And we'll be on in a couple of weeks with another live, but be looking for those videos on Mondays and Thursdays. So, guys, have a great evening. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new that might help you. So if you did, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and don't forget to click the bell. That's gets you notifications of when I'll be on next. And if you haven't, check that video description below the video. There's lots of contact information and links to a lot more learning opportunities. Until next time, let's talk birds.